Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. And most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, just to remind you, we've got Robert Mott rolling in from the wine bar this morning. He's out there in beautiful La Quinta. Nicolas is going to be joining us. We're going to chat a little bit about real estate. And boy, do we have an action-packed show for you. Like we try to do almost every morning. It's a great day to be in Southern California. Watching all the news things going on. Have you been following some of it? It's amazing. It's a little bit early, but we are seeing quite a bit still going on in the political realm. Unbelievable how that's the battle's going on. I'm not sure whether I like it or dislike it. I did hear something early today, maybe even yesterday, from Senator Rubio talking about all of the commentary coming from Donald Trump. It's just been amazing to me how you've got I guess the best way to put him is he's just a renegade. And while I like a lot of the topics he's bringing up, and I'm glad that he's bringing them to center stage, you wonder, could he do it with a little class maybe? I know that he's a showman, and that's all that he's out there for, I believe, I should say, I don't know that's true. I believe that why would he want to take the job, other than his massive ego, why would he want to be president of the United States? Obviously a pay cut, that's certainly not the reason that he's doing it. He is bringing a lot of good commentary out there. I just wonder, what is the ulterior motive? Business people always have a game plan. He didn't get to where he is by not having a clearly defined game plan of what he's trying to accomplish. And I just am wondering what it's all about. Just one person's opinion. Obviously, we have our Ask Your Mortgage Advocate question of the day. The question being, is there a waiting time after Chapter 13 to get an FHA loan with all payments made on time? Answer to that, there's no waiting time after finishing a Chapter 13. Borrower must have completed the first 12 months of payment after the filing and acceptance of the plan with the court. After the first 12 months of on-time payment, a borrower is eligible for an FHA loan. That is the Ask Your Mortgage Advocate question. Now, remember this, I share this all the time. They are eligible for an FHA loan. That does not mean they're necessarily going to get an FHA loan from every institution. Every institution does things their own way. So while they follow the guidelines are a minimum set of rules, So if one has a issue, they can actually go to a larger set, or the lending institution, the banks, or the lender, the investor. They can actually have a higher grade of requirement. Can't go less. So one institution may say, well, we want 24 months of on-time payments, while another might say, I'm happy with the months that we're talking about here. So just remember, that's why you want to call a mortgage professional and have them help you with these issues. It's the whole thing comes down to the fact of finding a personal shopper. That's what I've shared with you many, many times. That's the concept of the mortgage banker. That's the reason that I've shared with you. You don't want to be going to the big bank on the corner. Great people. And believe it or not, many, many mortgage bankers at the end of the day will sell the loan right over to one of those big banks on the corner. But why wouldn't you want to go there in the first place? Why wouldn't you want to skip the middleman? Well, that's a very good question, very logical question. And I hear that one all the time, so I'm going to answer it for you. Why not skip the middleman? Well, here's the situation. The middleman is actually buying from those big institutions at what we call wholesale pricing. Just like Walmart doesn't necessarily buy from the manufacturer in China, they buy from an agent. The agent makes a little bit of money to go and find the right solution or the right person for that Walmart product. You can do the same thing. Anybody can do that. So the concept is the mortgage broker is actually buying at wholesale, then bringing it to you. But what do they do in the middle? That's the important part, is they're going and finding the right solutions in the middle for you so that you get the answers, you get a better product, you get the right product. Here's the issue. You could go to every bank that you could possibly find, and you're still not going to find all of them that a mortgage banker is going to know about. You can go to Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, U.S. Bank, Bank Home, Banco Popular if they're still in business. All of these different institutions, they're all there, they're all open to you. The question being is, number one, do you have the time? And number two, are you going to get to the ones that are not even in your local neighborhood? Maybe you're not going to get to Fifth Third Bank in Chicago. Maybe you're not going to get to SunTrust. Maybe you're not going to get to MetLife because you don't even know that they do mortgages. That's what your mortgage banker's doing for you. That's how they're helping you out. That's how they earn their money. So that's why we share with you on a regular basis. While the big bank on the corner, good people, they just don't have all the resources available for you. Moving right along this morning, saw an interesting report overnight. Americans are working harder than ever before. Those people that actually have a job, we know that there's still a huge percentage of the population that has not been able to get a job. But those that do have jobs, they're actually working more hours than any country in the world. In 1930, the economist John Maynard Keynes floated some startling predictions about what the future of employment would look like. Keynes believed that we'd soon be working an average of 15 hours every week, thanks to growing technology and industrialization. The issue is actually just the opposite. Now 11% of those surveyed work 41 to 49 hours a week, 21% put in 50 to 59 hours a week, and 18% work 60 hours a week or more. Means almost exactly 50% of full-time workers log more than 40 hours a week. Is that bad? I would suggest that if you want to get ahead, you got to work hard. The Netherlands actually has the shortest legally mandated work week of any industrialized nation, with an average of 29 hours a week. 29 hours a week. So there's the variance. Now, Americans, we work 137 more hours every year than Japanese workers, who we perceive as chronically overworked, 260 hours more than British workers, 394 hours more than the average uber-efficient German worker, and 499 hours more than the people of France. A little bit of useless trivia there for you, but it does let you understand as we go more and more and you see the population, you listen to the loons like Nancy Pelosi. Try not to.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Couldn't even get her to do that on time. So here's the issue is the population is having to work harder, and yet we mandate benefits at less hours, trying to promote less hours. You got to remember, every time the government puts in a penalty for doing something or a reward, people do what they're penalized. They don't do what they're penalized, and they do what they're rewarded. So when you get a penalty for 30 hours or more, guess what? Business says, I'm going to put my force to work less than 30 hours. Not good. So now you have to figure out how you're going to work two jobs, because we know that we need 59 hours to get ahead. If all of that is true, which we're just sharing the information with you, it's not our numbers. These numbers just come out of government statistics that we just scan for on a regular basis. Think about where we're heading in our country. Think about the politicians as we get into more and more election time. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, home sales, they're remaining hot this summer. 5 credit score killers. Robert Mott will be here talking about wine with us. And Nicolaou will be in the house to chat a little bit about real estate. Remember, you can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
With more than 25 years of experience, ATI is a national leader in restoration, environmental remediation, and reconstruction. We're proud to be the nation's largest family-owned restoration contractor. ATI has over 700 full-time employees and 15 offices across the county. Our services include 24-hour emergency response, water damage, fire and smoke damage, lead, asbestos removal, mold remediation, and much more when the need arises. Call 1-800-400-9353. That's 1-800-400-9353. Do you have a loved one who wants to stay in their home, but you have health concerns about it? The Preferred Care Team understands the challenges of caring for your loved ones. Their goal is to keep seniors as independent as possible while maintaining their health, safety, and overall well-being. Whether you need just a few hours a week or 24-hour care, Preferred Care caregivers are trained to meet your needs. Call Preferred Care at 714-696-9150. That's 714-696-9150. Or visit preferredcare.com.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today brought to you by Commerce for a Cause. Great program if you own a business, if you take credit cards. If you take credit cards, then you pay a credit card processing fee. Commerce for a Cause will match your processing fee and then send a check on your behalf for 20% of your processing fee to the charity of your choice. I love giving back to the community. Hope you'll join me in this thought process. Commerce for a Cause. You want more information? Give me a call. 800-306-1990. I will put you in touch with them. Why do I have to pay real estate agents 6% commission? That is our subject today of the Mortgage Minute. Well, the answer to the question is, number one, you don't. You can actually put your house up for sale by yourself and not pay any commission at all. You're going to get on average 14% less money for your property, but the commission is negotiable. Basically, since 1950, a Supreme Court ruled that requiring certain rates was illegal. After that, it became a suggested rate, some sources say. How it became 6%? No one really seems to know that answer. I've been in the industry for about 30-some years and know of very few who can actually say exactly, specifically when and where it happened. Steve Murray, president of Real Trends, which tracks real estate data, he's been in the industry 40 years. His quote, "I do not know that we have been tracking it since 1991 on a national level and are used as the source for such data by the federal authorities. It's fallen from an average of 6.1% that year to just above 5.18% in 2014. Here's the issue. It's negotiable. If you try to do the negotiating, which many people like to do before you sign your listing agreement, I suggest it might be a poor decision for you. Here's why. Now, the listing agent, in many instances, say, something, here's all the things that I do, and I get charged 3% for it. Now, how much do you want to charge the buying side? Or how much do you want to pay the selling agent? Well, you put in there 1%. Okay, so now you've got a total of 4% commission. Now, do you think when the agents look at the competition, your house versus the other 5 in the neighborhood, and yours says they're going to get paid 1%, another says they're going to get paid 2%, another says they're going to get 3%, and another says they're going to get 4%. And I've seen every one of those things in the paperwork. Where do you think the selling agent, the person that's out showing you the properties, what do you think their motivation is? If they can show you 2 properties side by side, one they're going to get paid 1% and the other they're going to get paid 4%. Do you think they may have a little motivation? And anybody that's really good in sales has this knowledge. It's something called recency and primacy. It has to do with influence when you do presentations. It's the laws of recency and primacy. And what that basically says is the most important things that you're going to see are the things that come first, primacy, and the one that comes last, recency. That's what you're going to really remember. The stuff in the middle, that's fluff. So the 2 most important properties, the 2 most important parts of a presentation are what's first and what's last. That is the Mortgage Minute, again brought to you today by Commerce for a Cause. Red wine means it is Wednesday, and it's time for our weekly chat with our wine guru, Robert Mott. Good morning.
Good morning, Ron. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful now that we're starting to get rid of some of this humidity. I'm way too big for this humidity.
I know what you mean. We had certainly had a little bit of rain here in the desert last week, and we're certainly happy to have it over with, too.
Absolutely. I think I saw that they might even open up the Highway 10 to Arizona, so you might get some visitors coming to see you.
Well, we may at that. I think they're going to open up one lane and force people through that by Friday, I think.
One lane, that should be nice. That should be a real exciting experience.
I'm sure it will be. I for one, wouldn't want to be one waiting in traffic behind.
No, and we're not going to encourage anybody to open a good bottle of wine while they're waiting there in traffic either.
Absolutely not.
But you know something, now that it is getting so warm, I wonder, I thought about this just recently. I'm not a big fan of warm wine. I like it cool and the proper temperatures. How can I keep my wine cool? You go out into the Coachella Valley, you go into some different areas where it's really warm in Inland Empire. What are your thoughts about those plastic things that you stick in the wine glass that's frozen?
Well, they have their use, I suppose. I like to, most of the time, I'm not a big fan of, I guess, the gadgets and gizmos, even though I'm kind of a techie at heart and a first adopter kind of person. When it comes to wine, I guess I'm a bit of a traditionalist. And the reason why is when you put something in your wine like that, I think it adds a variable to the wine that I really can't account for. I find it a bit distracting, and I really don't know if it's changing the character of the wine. So my method's pretty simple. Keep my white wines as cool as serving temperature. I used to use a smaller glass, or just don't fill my glass as full. Pour no more than a third full in wine, use a little bit less. And I keep the bottle on ice. Kind of, like I say, I'm kind of a traditionalist, and that way I can always refill my glass as necessary. It's not really an inconvenience, as you say, because as you know, Ron, some days that's the only exercise we get is picking up that bottle and pouring wine for people. We don't really shy away from that very traditional way of just don't fill your glass that full. I know some people have used a lot of those gizmos, the plastic things, the things you freeze. I've heard of another thing I've seen, these stainless steel pearls, almost like ball bearings, that you freeze them and plop in your glass. All of them have their uses, I suppose. Some people put ice cubes in their wine. Now, some people swear by that, but personally, I think it waters down the wine. Again, it has even a bigger effect than most other things you put in it. I think it's one of those things that it's very, very much a matter of personal preference. One other thing I thought that people have told me as well is that they'll freeze grapes and they'll put those in their glass, which I think is kind of a cool idea. But again, you're adding another flavor to the wine and another texture as well, and it might actually improve the wine, or it might actually go the other way. So, like I say, I'm a bit of a traditionalist there. Keep your wine on ice, your bottle on ice. Don't pour much in your glass, and just re-pour when you need to.
So let me ask you this, because you shared with us, I don't know, last week or the week before, about the right way to chill, or the quickest way to chill the wine. When you put your white wine in a bucket of ice, do you have water in there, or is it just plain ice?
I definitely have water in there. Now, of course, in the kind of temperatures we have here in the Coachella Valley, and certainly somewhat inland toward the coast as well this time of year, your ice will turn to water somewhat rapidly anyway. But I always like to start with a little bit of water in there because it actually helps the thermal conductivity. So it actually has a way of pulling it's more efficient pulling the heat out of the bottle and keeping your wine chilled is to have a little bit of water in there. It keeps a lot of contact with that cold water on the bottle. So you remember that area in the bottle between the ice and the bottle and the water. That water is chilled basically to just about 32 degrees Fahrenheit when you have a lot of ice and water together. When you have air in there, when you don't have water, and you have air in the spaces between the ice, the air is going to be a little warmer than 32, so it just doesn't work as efficiently.
Interesting. Okay, so now we've got it down pat there. Now, what about the reds? I mean, how are we going to keep the reds a little cooler? Because, I mean, I don't like them as cold as the white, but I certainly don't want them at 85 degrees.
I understand that as well, and I would use the same method, actually. I just don't put as much ice in the ice bath. So I would have cool water, a bit of cool water, and then don't fill your bucket with ice. Maybe make it kind of dilute, almost like 50% as much ice as you might use with a bottle of white wine. And as the ice melts, of course, it will chill the bottle, but it won't put that heavy chill that you would necessarily want on perhaps a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc or something like that. But just don't use quite as much ice. And I think the water is still a good thing to keep that temperature regulated and very consistent. So I think the main thing is keep it cool, keep it consistently cool, and like you say, you don't want it ice cold, but a little bit of ice will go a long way.
Absolutely. So I got a little bit. I want to check with you. I know you were up in Napa recently, and I went to one winery one time, and we were just chatting with one of the winemakers, and he made a comment about his feelings about those people that spit at wine tasting, and he said that makes the winemaker cry. What are your thoughts?
Well, in most cases, the winemaker will not cry. For some people, the hardest part about wine tasting is spitting, and getting used to the idea of spitting in public, because we've all had that drilled into our head. Was it that thing from Caddyshack? No fighting, no spitting, no bare feet.
There you go.
Anyway, so the spitting part's one thing that a lot of us have a very hard time getting used to, but it's really widely accepted in the wine community. It's not considered to be rude to spit in front of other wine lovers, or even in front of the winemaker who makes the wine. Most of the time you'll have a spittoon of something to use like that. Sometimes they'll give you something that's a little easier to use, like a red Solo cup. The drains in the floor are okay. I think the thing to remember is that if you spit your wine, it'll make you also seem like more of a wine insider or a wine expert, I guess, than necessarily getting sloppy drunk at a tasting. So I think that there's lots of good things about spitting. It's a little safer if you happen to be behind the wheel of a car, obviously.
There you go.
You much more, much more in the know when you're in one of these wine tastings.
Great information. Appreciate it. Like always on Wednesday mornings with Robert Mott. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, Nicolas Nicolaou will join us. We'll chat real estate. We'll chat Greece. Wonder what that has to do with real estate. We'll figure it out. 5 common credit score killers. Home sales, will they remain hot this summer? You can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us on Ron Siegel Radio on Facebook, Ron Siegel on Twitter. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Attention homeowners 62 and older. Do you worry if you can afford to keep your home? Are you concerned about paying all your monthly expenses? Or do you simply wish you could live a better retirement? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you may qualify for a program that can help. It's called FHA Reverse Mortgage. It's insured by the federal government. You'll receive tax-free money. You aren't required to make any monthly mortgage payments, and you still own your home. Siegel Lending Team is a local leader in FHA reverse mortgages. Call free to get your free reverse mortgage guide, free custom quote. And when you call now, you can get all your questions answered by local experts. There is no monthly mortgage payment and tax-free money you can use for healthcare expenses, home improvements, or just live a better retirement with peace of mind. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-1990 to get your free reverse mortgage guide and quote. You'll also find them on the web at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL lendingteam.com. Call 800-306-1990 now.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it's wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solution for you. Common credit score killers. That is the subject of today's Your Credit Matters segment. Number one killer, high credit balances. I've shared these numbers with you before. 65% of your credit score comes from two different portions of revolving debt. One portion, how long you've had your credit cards or your debt, the age of the debt, is it new or is it old? And the other portion is the balance of the utilization. So if you have more, if you've used a higher percentage of the available, it's going to hurt your score. So high credit card balances as they relate to the credit card limit. So if you have a $5,000 balance, but you've got a $100,000 limit, that's going to be good. But if you have a $5,000 balance on a $6,000 limit, not quite as good for you, so it's going to hurt you there. Late payments, that's part of that history I was just telling you about. So late payments will hurt. When I talk to you about how old your credit cards are, or your revolving debt, so if you apply for a bunch of credit cards all at the same time, right when that happens, you're going to get double dinged. The one ding will be if you get approved for all of them, your age on your credit report, the age of your credit history, it's going to drop because you got a bunch of new credit on there. You're also going to get dinged for having several inquiries. Now, inquiries, a lot of people make a big deal out of inquiries. It's a total of 10% of your score maximum. So when you think about a credit score ranging from 350 to 850, a 500-point spread, you're talking about maybe 50 points at the absolute most on the credit scores. Not a major issue. Don't worry about that as much as getting yourself and your family a good deal. Number 4, closing credit cards. Again, if it's a new credit card, it's not going to hurt as much. If it's an old credit card, it's going to hurt your score. And number 5, identity theft. There are solutions for all of these with our friends at creditsanitizer.com. They've even got a special for our listeners over there for LifeLock. So go visit creditsanitizer.com. That is Your Credit Matters. Again, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. Let's chat this morning with our friend Nicolas. Nicolaou, repeat offender, and again with us to share his knowledge of the real estate industry. Remember this, real estate in almost every situation is local. You're looking at buying a place that's going to be important for you for some reason. I don't know whether if you work close to home, then obviously there's your local relationship. If you are a traveling person where you have to travel for work, you might want to be localized near an airport or convenient to an airport. Schools for your kids, big issue. But there's also a lot to do with real estate that's going national on us or international. One of the big issues that we've seen recently, we've talked about it on Ron Siegel Radio many times, is the concept of why is this little tiny country about the size of Rhode Island, the population of Orange County, why is there such a great effect on our interest rates? And Nick has some interesting concept or philosophies on this. We'll chat about it. Nick, what is Greece? Welcome first.
Hey, Ron. Great to be here again. Always enjoy seeing you and listening to your show.
Appreciate it. So what does Greece have to do with our interest rates?
You know, Greece is one of 19 countries in the Euro zone there, and part of what backs the currency. So instability with Greece and a possible Grexit, as they call it, could destabilize that currency. Now, why is that important? And I'm sure you've talked on this. We're in a global, it's like a big web of one little string gets pulled and you feel it across the globe. And so if there's a hiccup in the recovery, the economic recovery of Europe, then that slows down China's recovery. And how does that affect us? Well, directly, the pressure's been on the rate. Everyone wants the Fed to move that rate up. The European Union, as well as the Pacific, they want that changed, and that was happening. I think you saw that, right? We saw rates jump for almost a month. They started to jump, and then all of a sudden, Greece took a turn, and things changed. So that affects us here directly.
It's having a big effect. I know we saw a couple of days where Greece was looking like it was resolved. It looks like they've got a Band-Aid on there again. We also saw, though, that some real serious problems within the economy within China. And obviously Greece being a little country, and having a big effect on our markets, China's a little bigger. When they start seeing their GDP drop by 10%, they're gonna act on it and think, I don't know whether you agree with it or not. Just like the U.S. manipulates our currency, the Chinese manipulate their currency, and we don't want to have that unrest, right? I mean, stability. I mean, it's hard, especially when you're talking about something as important as a person's house.
Well, GDP is the key word there, and I think in China, if the GDP falls below 9%, they start to have social unrest because of the way it's structured.
Sure.
So, and I think most of the Fortune 5 corporations, they look for GDP, global GDP, regional GDP. So these things are so important, and the rates and currency have a lot to do with that, with global consumption.
Interesting. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of stability. It might take us a couple of years until we see what goes on in the new election cycle as well. Regardless of which party you favor, we know one thing's guaranteed: we will have a new president in 2 years. Obviously, that's just I shouldn't say guaranteed anymore, but for the most part, we should expect that. And there's going to be a lot of battling back and forth. Historically, we don't see a lot of increase in interest rates during election years. It's something that's not favored too much by politicians. They'll do anything to try and keep the real estate market pretty stable, just because they understand the real estate market is so integrated with everything that we do. 70% of our GDP comes from the consumer, and a huge percentage of that 70 has to do with real estate. So you want a good, strong real estate market, a good active, and that's why I share with you all the time that you're going to, if you want the absolute best price on your house, if you're thinking about selling, you've got to wait at least 100 or 200 years. Absent of that, do it when it's right for your family. That's what's really important. Any thoughts there, Nick?
Well, Ron, getting back to Greece, we were talking about Greece. So if Greece stabilizes and Europe stabilizes, we'll probably see rates go up. Do you agree with that? I mean, over the next few months?
Yeah, in the short term, I would think the biggest issue that we have to be careful of is that I believe right now, I've shared this on air many times, is I think that I don't see a housing bubble. I do see a stock market bubble to a certain extent, but the other part that's really scary is a bond bubble. And if that bubble bursts in the bond market, then we're going to exactly what you're saying, right? Rates will rise.
And if rates rise, one thing can't change a market. So say locally here in Orange County, one thing won't do it. But when you see the foreign investors pull back as well, and the speculators, because they don't see the appreciation upside of it, then we're going to see maybe a little bit of a flattening or change in values. And that's what we're looking for over the next year.
So it's just seeing a little more of a flattening in values. But the question I would have, though, 2012, 2013, we were seeing some huge appreciation numbers. Probably numbers that were not healthy, but we were coming off of such a low that it was a bounce.
Yeah.
The flattening of numbers, do you see that as being healthy for the market?
Well, right now we're still within 12%. We still haven't of peak in 2006 where we peaked out. So there's still plenty of room between where we are and where we're going. But flattening to me would mean either no gains. Most of the foreign nationals bringing their money here, they're hoping to see 3% on their real estate. That's why they're bringing the money here. And if they rent it out, it's a bonus. If they live in it, it's a bonus. If we don't see that, if we see less than that, then it's not going to be as attractive for them, and they'll take their money somewhere else.
Well, and that makes sense because I'm looking at the 10-year bond right now is trading with a 70 basis point, less than 1% return. The U.S. 10-year is getting 2.3. Italy and Spain are just over 1.9, UK 2%. So if they can get 3% on appreciation on real estate, some of them are doing it all cash, some are financing. We do know that there are specific programs for our international investors. So 3% is a good number. If you can beat the 10-year Treasury and something that's stable, we'll chat about that more when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. That's a good lead up for our next segment, where we're going to talk about home sales. Will they remain hot this summer? You can reach me anytime. Call our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And don't forget, if you miss any part of our broadcasts, they are on YouTube now. ronsiegelradio.tv will get you there, or also ronsiegelradio.com in the archive. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com, or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation and MLS 217037 and BCAL-BRE number 018694552. Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com.
In these uncertain times, it's getting harder and harder to find a safe and effective method of investing. If you're looking at retirement options that can provide some real security for you and your family, look no further than a reverse mortgage with Siegel Lending Team. Hundreds of thousands of other Americans are already taking advantage of reverse mortgages. It allows you to eliminate monthly mortgage payments, pay some bills, or simply enjoy your retirement more. A government-insured reverse mortgage with Siegel Lending Team allows seniors to stay in their home and turn their equity into tax-free cash. To qualify, there are no credit score requirements, and remember, you continue to retain complete ownership of your home. Call 1-800-306-1990 to receive a new special edition handbook, Feature Reverse Mortgage Borrowers, plus an educational brochure absolutely free. Find out more. Call Siegel Lending Team today, 1-800-306-1990. SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or 1-800-306-1990.
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. The real-time real estate segment brought to you by the Ron Siegel Radio VIP Hero Program. Yes, that is for our military, active, retired, reserve, guards, first responders, firefighters, law enforcement, medical, teachers. Great program for the people that we count on in our community. Will home sales remain hot this summer? That is the question. Interesting commentary. I get people frequently asking about the spring buying season when they talk real estate. However, this year, it appears as though the summer real estate market will be just as hot. The most recent foot traffic report released by the National Association of Realtors revealed that there are more buyers out looking at homes right now than at any other time in the last 2 years, including the past 2 springs. Here's the question I had when I first looked at this. How the heck do they know how many people are out looking at homes? Well, here's how they do the statistics. They actually, the lock boxes now have a tracking mechanism so that for security purposes to find out who's accessed a property. Well, at the same time as them figuring who's accessing a property, they can keep track of how many people are accessing properties. It doesn't talk a lot about open houses and how many people are out during the open house because no one's accessing a lockbox at that time. But foot traffic has a strong correlation with future contracts and home sales. So it can be viewed as a peek ahead at sales trends 2 to 3 months in the future. People don't go out and look at a house today and buy it the same day, for most part. They start, it's a process, they look over time, they talk to a realtor, they might interview several realtors. If they're smart, they call me at 800-306-1990 so I can put you in touch with somebody that's great in your neighborhood. You know, it's not the person that has the most signs out. I was just looking, I think 2 days ago, at a company that, here's the idea, here, catch this one, I don't even, Nick, I don't know if you've seen this one running around. You're out there in the community, so you've probably seen it. There's a service out now for $40. They'll put up 14 signs for an open house for a real estate professional. $40, 14 signs. Put them up in the morning, take them down at the end of the day. And the community goes out and says, wow, that guy's got a lot of signs out. He must be doing a lot of good stuff. And you've been duped over $40. $200,000 house, $500,000 house, $1 million house, and you're taking the guidance from a $40 project. Now, the good real estate agents are the ones, in many instances, are the ones that know about this service and invest. Key comment there, they invest in having 14 signs that this service can put out or more. But that doesn't mean that they're great real estate professionals. What else is involved? We were chatting earlier in the broadcast about the real estate agent's commission, and I'll be really honest with you. I couldn't care less how much a real estate agent makes. I hope they make a ton of money, and as your consumer advocate, I can say that with all sincerity because it is irrelevant. The property value is going to sell at market value. This is a capitalist society. It's competitive. There's other properties. So what the real estate agent makes is not a material. What it matters to me is what are they doing for me for that money? What are they doing for my listeners for that money? Are they getting my listeners market value or are they getting less? Is somebody going to come in and make them an offer playing on your lack of intelligence, your ignorance? Not stupidity, I wouldn't say that. It's just you haven't been educated on it, so you don't know. We're going to chat about that right now with Nicolaou. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you again by Ron Siegel Radio VIP Hero Program. So Nick, I'm sure you hear it also. I mean, people counting your money all the time. They look at it and they say, Nick, you just sold $1 million house and you got a 6% commission. Man, you can take the rest of the year off.
You know, great topic, Ron, because we hear it in listing presentations. We hear it all the time, and the question is why? What's a good amount to pay and why? Well, the first thing we have to remember is a lot of times a home is sold for a life event, or time is of the essence in a real estate transaction.
Right.
So you have a short window. You have that first couple of weeks to really make an impression on that property, get it sold.
Sure.
And that's when you'll capture top dollar, because that's when it's new to the market. That's when the most interest is generated. So when we look at how we bring a property to market, there's some hard costs. So the fee to the listing agent is more of it's mainly a marketing fee. So, and we have a punch list of things we're willing to do, like, feature it on all our different websites, Realtor.com, Trulia. We're paying fees to enhance that listing and push it out. Local print, all kinds of things. So, and the strategy goes on, and we could spend, even on a $500,000 listing, we could spend $3,000-$4,000.
Sure.
R.E.A.P each side.
Wait. I'm a simple guy, Nick. E&O insurance. What the heck?
Errors and omission.
Okay,
So any
gotcha.
corporation that provides a service has that insurance. And so let's say a seller omits a very key piece of information that affects the value of the home. Well, that could end up really poorly in court. Let's say the buyer bought the home on the pretense that it was in great condition, this thing didn't come up with inspections, and now everyone's getting sued. So the minimum deductible is $5,000 for both listing agent and selling agent, both sides. So now we have a $10,000 potential cost.
Sure.
We could chew into that. So we have that. And then the other part is we have the selling side. Well, as we talked earlier, 80% of agents nationwide are part-time, and they're probably representing a family member. And so what's their motivation, like you said? It is that commission.
Sure.
Because that's their gas money, that's their money for having fun or whatever it is. They do 1 or 2 deals a year. So now if you disincentivize that, now you've lost 80% of your target of who might sell this home.
Well, that's an interesting point, and obviously, I just look at Orange County as a statistics. We talked about San Diego County. Orange County, 19,000 real estate agents, roughly 10,000 transactions a year. Do the math. It's about a half a transaction per year per agent. San Diego, about 17,000 real estate agents. Again, not doing a whole lot of business. I'm going to suggest to you there's only 7 or 8% of the agents that are really out there hustling and working hard for the client. 7 or 8%. So think about that. 7 or 8%. So for every 100 signs you see placed with a different name, not the same name, doesn't count if it's the same name, there's 7 of them that are out there really working full-time and hard. And what are the odds of you finding the right one? That's why I share with you. Call me at 800-306-1990 so I can put you in touch with somebody like Nick who knows more about the real estate. Here's the concept. You talk to somebody about real estate, and it's not necessarily just the property. You can go on Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com and all these sites and find out an address. You might get accurate, may not get accurate information on the square footage, because a lot of them get it from the county recorder, which is not always accurate. You might be able to find out how many bedrooms it has and how many bathrooms it has. You're not going to find out about the global economy. You're not going to find out, like you were just sharing with us, Nick, about what's going on in Greece and how does that affect Anaheim or La Jolla or Encinitas, right? Those are things that somebody that's doing this on a professional basis, they're studying their craft just like everybody else does.
And that's why we said time is of the essence. So the target is, do you move the asset really quickly because you're trying to get ahead of something, or is time on your side?
Stop right there for 1 second, because you said something that a lot of people don't connect with, but it's very, very important. You said, do you move the asset quickly? When you make a decision to sell your house, get divorced from your house, it's no longer your home. It's an asset that you're trying to sell. Big difference right there.
Yeah, and most professionals that are serious about their careers look at exit strategy, right?
Sure.
So your home, when you're selling it, it's your exit strategy into the next phase of your life, whether that be retirement, whether that be upsizing, whether that be relocating to another state. So these life events dictate, why we're buying or selling a home and how quickly we need to do it. And then the global, like we said, plays into that, and local conditions. So hiring the best agent that understands the local market, understands what your goals are, that's the way to go. I'll give you a perfect example. We went on a listing presentation the other day, and the homeowner said, look, I got $500,000 into this home in the last 2 years. I want $1.4 million for it. That's what I got in. And he says, your commission is whatever you put on top of that. I don't care what that is. So there you have a very mature seller.
Sure.
He just wants it sold quickly. He's got this much in. He knows what his home is worth, and we can go ahead and charge whatever we want and incentivize it however we want to get it sold.
And make sure it happens in the time frame that he needs.
He wants it now.
And the market's going to tell you whether he's accurate or not in his 1.4.
Yeah.
Right? I mean...
Well, this was a developer, too.
Oh, a developer, okay.
Yeah, so he was an actual developer of his own personal home, but this is the attitude he had towards, he said, do whatever you got to do to sell it and go ahead and spend as much money as you need to and incentivize the other agent. That was his strategy.
And that's the idea right there, because there's X number of things that you can do. There's X number of places to save money. But a property that size needs to be marketed the right way, because the person on the other side, the buyer, is also going to be a sophisticated buyer.
Yeah.
Right? So they're gonna understand the whole marketing. That's why you need professional guidance. That's why I say somebody like Nick needs to be on your household board of directors. Give me a call if you want to meet Nick. I'll put you in touch, 800-306-1990. And be sure to set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun, have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
XEPN 1700 AM, Pitaket, Bacalican.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700. Catch me weekdays at 7 a.m. ESPN Radio 1700.